Hey there, it's Jeff Kushmerek from Infinite Renewals. I'm here to talk to you about 6 hacks that should increase your retention by at least 10%. Okay, so I wanted to get into this. I put a post on LinkedIn, and I don't have that many followers, and I'm not like an influencer, top 25 or anything like that. But I've just been doing this stuff for over 20 years now. If you can see the gray hair, say, Jeff, isn't that closer to 25? And maybe you're right. But hey, experience matters in some of these things, right? So I've got these 6 hacks, but let's talk about how we got there first. We've had, for the past few years, startups pouring all of their money into growth, which is great, right? Like, go out there, sell, market, build product. So what is happening, though, is that there is not a focus on keeping the customers or getting them launched right? So what do we see happening? We see churn happening, retention, sales is having to keep their NRR, which is sort of one of these big board numbers that people are looking at, which means, what's the net retention rate here for the customer and for your book of business. And so even if you're selling a ton, if they're not renewing, you kind of have to make it up. And that's where you hear this leaky bucket syndrome going on. People are now saying like, well, wait, if we look at the second half of 2022, the macroeconomics of the world were bad. And that's why renewals weren't happening. And that's why churn was happening. Sure, there's certain amount of that's responsible for it. But there's a lot of companies that were still killing it. And they've got great products. You see some great products that aren't getting it. So let's talk about these 6 hacks. Okay, so number 1 is to ensure the CSMs are not being used as a support group. And this is common, and look, most startups start off this way. You just don't have enough flow of work to hire or enough money to hire all the resources that you need on the post-sale side. So you wind up with sort of a generalist, and I've got an article it's Evolution of SaaS Onboarding. I'll try and link to it in the video here, where we talk about, having this generalist, I call it Pangea, and then we have basically work that's not getting done because you're too busy doing support work or implementation work. That value work is the, QBRs and sending metrics over and doing all the stuff that CSM should be doing instead of answering support tickets. So number 1, get support out of the CSM's hands. Find another resource to do it, even if you can't dedicate a support rep, but hopefully by now you should be able to at least dedicate a support rep and then start building up the case for that. Okay, number 2 hack is make sure that your handoffs between all of your groups in the customer journey are locked down tight. I think the biggest thing I hear when going and talking to customers of mine is that they're like, well, we told the salespeople one thing, and then we told the sales engineer one thing, and then we went to implementation, and then our kickoff, they're like, can you tell us what you're trying to do there? And then the one term which I always hate hearing is like, do you guys even talk to each other internally? It's just terrible. So make sure, and everybody then they fix just that sales handoff, and then they walk away, right? How do you fix that, by the way? Talk to your RevOps people. Have them fill out a form in the CRM, and also have an internal call. And basically, the RevOps people, and be good friends with your CFO and things like that. Will basically make sure that they can't transfer ownership, which means that they're just going to be the key person. And the salespeople, they need to go out and keep selling. They can't be dealing with customers once the deal's closed. So, and then the level above that, because sometimes you need a stick and sometimes you need a carrot, is, and I've had to do this, which is you don't get your commission until you do this stuff. And if you didn't transition, then you don't get your commission. Okay. So the number 3 hack, and again, we talked about the CSMs not being able to do the value work, separate implementation from CSMs. Again, if you talk to most people that are CSMs that are also doing implementations, they will tell you getting a new customer and implementing them is like dropping a bomb into their life. And it takes up a lot of time, especially as we get into B2B SaaS. There's configurations, there's implementations, there's APIs, all the data cleansing. Like, oh my God, I can go for 10 minutes on that. So there's no time to look at their usage and do your QBRs and set up your weekly cadence and everything. You're literally just scrambling meeting to meeting at this point in time. Okay, so the number 4 hack is do not have customers report bugs in Slack. Make sure you've got a support portal and show your customers how to use it at launch. So the way I usually like to do this is, you can talk about this in the pre-sales, is that, okay, we will have your handoff to the implementation team. Implementation is going to be there, and you're going to use Slack. You're going to work back and forth. You'll be very cohesive, minute by minute, answering each other's questions. Make sure you're not working nights and weekends and stuff like that. Then when launch hits, you train them on the support portal. Here's your Zendesk. Here's your whatever you're using for a support portal. This is where you file bugs in. We still have Slack over here to talk about strategy and some random stuff. But as soon as your customers start trying to report bugs in Slack, that's when suddenly the balls get dropped. Hopefully you tag support, but if it doesn't file a ticket, then these things just wind up not getting worked on. Okay, so the next one is, if you're not reporting bugs in Slack, encourage conversations in Slack. Take it out of email. If you've got a customer that is engaged and they want us to be sending you stuff back and forth over Slack, that's a good indicator that they are going to use your product and renew your product and things like that. So in the past, I've previously been like, no, shut down Slack and implementation, send them to this portal, do X, Y, and Z. But then you started seeing a lot of the value conversations happening inside of Slack. So why would you remove that from your customers? I also have about a 30-minute podcast with Mike Molinet from a company named Branch, where we just kind of talk about this whole concept, because this is newer for me. And so he gave me a lot of best practices on how to do this, setting up guardrails and everything else. So my last one is rolling out community software. Get your customers talking to each other. Your marketing team can then see what they're talking about. Your product team can go in there. People starting asking questions in there, and they don't even go to support. So those are my big tips on number 6 hacks. Obviously, I talked for a while about each one of these. Let me know if there's any subjects you want me to do, in-depth ones, or bring a guest on and chat about. And hope you found this helpful. And leave a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.